This week's topic of personal financial structure has a lot to do with knowing your credit. And so I wanted to give you just a quick rundown on an exercise that I typically show in class. So I'm sure all of you are considering credit cards or already have credit cards. And they're one of the typical problems that consumers have because they continue to charge without really understanding their credit cards and how to use them effectively. So I have this web page pulled up. It's U.S. News World Report, and just to show the information based on the interest rates. So this particular paragraph that I have, well, now they're all highlighted, but on a $1,000 balance paid over 6 months, you will spend about $47 on interest. So to use the credit card for 6 months and just have a $1,000 balance, you'll pay about $47. And that's a 16% APR. The typical APR is about 17% for the lowest rates and as high as 22 and more for the maximum rates. And that depends on your credit risk and the specific credit card that you're using. But it just kind of gives you an idea, right? You've got 16% here, you've got 20% here. I'm going to get that blue off. And if you went to 20%, you would pay $59, which doesn't seem much, but the typical consumer often has more than $1,000 on their card. So it does add up quickly. Okay. So Bankrate is the web page that you're going to for this particular assignment in which you're watching this video. And I just want to show you, I give you a link in the assignment, but if you wanted to go on your own, this is how you would get there. Go to bankrate.com, go to credit cards, scroll over here, and it's all credit card calculators. Now, the reason I go through this is because you need credit cards in order to establish credit, but you have to use them effectively. So you have all these credit card calculators, and you're supposed to use 3 of them in this particular assignment just to get a feel for how they work. And one of them should really be this credit card minimum payment calculator, because I think it really helps you to determine if you're in a good place with your credit cards. So we're going to click on that. And then what it's saying here is, okay, so for credit card number 1, and you can do this if you have multiple cards, what is your balance? And it'll come in with, I believe, $5,000 to start. I've kind of played with it this morning already, but I'm going to put in $1,500. Let's say that you found that love seat and it's $1,500. You can't live without it. And you have this new credit card. Now, this is assuming that there's nothing else on this card already. You're going to purchase it. It automatically is coming in at 18.9, which is probably about right. And then the minimum payment, that's determined by your credit card. But let's just leave that as it is because that's pretty typical. It shows that for a $1,500 balance, your monthly payment will be $60, right, which is 4% of the $1,500. But it's gonna take you 88 months to pay off that $1,500, and you're gonna pay over $2,300. So that means you've paid $833 for the luxury of using that credit card. If you want to see it in a payment basis, if we go View Report, it shows you the same information, but a little more visible. So what it's saying is that you're starting with $1,500. That first payment of $60, only $36 went towards the $1,500. The rest went to interest. And you'll know that any loan, you pay a big chunk of your interest up front, and then the interest declines over the period. Now, 88 months, you say, well, that's, it's a little longer than I wanted to. So you could up your payment amount and you could pay more. I'm going to go back and hide the report here. But the dilemma for most people is they don't understand that you don't keep just $1,500 on a credit card. You continue to charge typically. And so your balance is going to increase over time. And that means that $60 minimum monthly payment is going to increase as well. So it kind of helps you to play. So when you go in and use this, if you have more than one credit card, let's say it's a gas card or it's a clothing card, you would want to put it in and do the calculation on that one as well, so you can kind of see where you need to be. So it's kind of an eye-opener. So just a point that I'm trying to make with this particular assignment is if you're going to use credit cards, don't use them for anything more than a month or two to carry the balance, because when you carry a balance, you pay interest on the new purchase and the old purchase each month. And you're just continuing to increase that balance. So what I typically do is I have charge cards, but I play the game of I'm going to use my charge card to get my points or my reward, and then I pay it off the next month. So every month I start with a zero balance. And that's the only typical reason I have to use a credit card, luckily, is I have the income in order to pay off that item. I could write a check right away. But typically we're a cashless society. You can use your debit card, I guess. I tend not to, only because of fraud risk. But I use a credit card because it's safe. I'm only liable for $50, if that, if somebody gets my credit card number. And then I pay it off. So it allows me to be cashless, but at the same time, I'm not incurring interest. It kills me to pay interest, even on a car loan or even my house loan. But anyway, this just gives you an idea of how you could look at this particular payoff calculator and do some number crunching. There's a few other ones you should consider. If depending on where you are in your life and your credit, the debt payoff also is a pretty good calculator. It allows you to input whatever type of credit you have, whether it be a credit card, auto loan, other loan, and then it'll consolidate for you and let you see how long it will take you to pay off if you have a certain amount of money that you have available each month that you could pay it off. So anyway, just a quick overview of Bankrate.com. Hopefully it becomes a source for you to help with your financial situation. And keep in mind, as I may have said earlier in this module, a company will potentially ask for a credit report on you as a new employee, because if you're going to be handling anything monetary at their company, they want to make sure that you're in a good place personally and that you're less likely to embezzle or somehow take company money for personal use. And so they have a right to ask for a credit report. And oftentimes when you sign off on your employment application, it's one of those things that you're saying is it's okay for them to pull on you, is they can pull a credit report to see where you are. So it's important that you get your life in order for employment, just to be a better employee and to look better on paper, basically. All right, well, that's just a quick one. If you have any questions, let me know.